Coming up tonight on Nightside.
This Hot Springs gun range doesn't allow any Muslims to come inside their store. I'm Jordan Bonke. Coming up, we'll tell you why.
Plus, a verdict reached in the trial of two women whose dog killed a Hot Springs Village woman. Matt Mershon is live in Benton with the jury's decision.
And mayors and police chiefs from across the country in Arkansas today. What former President Bill Clinton had to say to the group.
Working for you in the spirit of Arkansas. This is Channel 7 News Nightside.
Nearly an hour and a half ago, the jury in the dog attack trial involving mother and daughter Brandy and Emily Coy reached a verdict. Good evening and thanks for watching tonight. I'm Beth Hunt.
And I'm Scott Inman. The jury spent 3.5 hours deliberating tonight. Matt Mershon has been following this story for us. He is live outside the Saline County Courthouse with the latest. Matt.
Well, good evening, Scott and Beth. Jury has moved to deliberation once again in this case for the sentencing phase. They are going back that verdict of guilty verdict for both Brandy and Emily Coy. Brandy receiving a guilty verdict for negligent homicide. Emily receiving a guilty verdict on her unlawful dog attack. Both of those women could face up to a year in the county jail. That is the highest level. They could also face up to a $2,500 fine in this. They could also get probation. That's what we're waiting on the jury right now to decide. They are inside deliberating that right now. Now, in the closing arguments of the sentencing phase, both sides, the prosecution making a case saying these people did the right thing. The defense apologizing for what happened, clearly very upset with the verdict, and saying that although jail time is a possible factor and punishment in this case, they are suggesting that jail would not be the correct punishment in this case. We are continuing to wait for the actual sentence, but an update here from Saline County, they did come back with a guilty verdict in the case of Emily and Brandy Coy in negligent homicide. But for now, we did just speak with Norbert Kappen moments ago, the wife of Joan Kappen, the woman who was killed. Let's hear what he had to say.
They both knew that this dog was vicious. All the evidence pointed in that direction. And not only did I lose my wife, but my best friend, and also Arkansas lost a woman.
Lost a woman who gave back to a lot of people. That's what Norbert Kappen was saying. Gave back to a lot of people. Norbert actually hugged Brandy Coy after the verdict was handed down and the jury went back in to deliberate the sentence. When I asked Norbert Kappen about why he hugged Brandy Coy, he simply said, "That's the Christian thing to do." Back to you.
Some forgiveness on display in the courtroom today. Matt, thanks very much for your report. A Hot Springs shooting range announced recently that they are banning Muslims from their business. The owner there says on her website she is doing it out of fear for the safety of her customers. Channel 7's Jordan Bonke spoke to the owner today, and he has more now. Jordan?
Well, she didn't have a whole lot to say to me. The owner denied our interview request twice. And then referred us to her website where she explains in great detail about why she didn't want Muslims in her gun range. People come here to buy, rent, and shoot lethal weapons. That's what Jan Morgan writes at the top of an article titled, "Why I Want My Range to Be a Muslim-Free Zone."
I disagree with that, because you shouldn't discriminate against anybody.
She says the Quran contains verses commanding hate and murder to those who refuse to submit to convert to Islam. She shares a personal experience of two men who came into her store who appeared foreign, acting suspicious, wanting to shoot guns, and scaring her customers. And Morgan says that since there is no way of identifying which Muslims are threatening, she'd rather be safe than sorry.
Her view of the Quran is false. The Quran, in fact, teaches you not to harm people.
The Council on American Islamic Relations says that they've already reached out to Attorney General Eric Holder to investigate. They believe that this is a violation of federal law.
But it's also a violation of American principles of inclusion, tolerance, and mutual understanding.
Morgan says on her website that she doesn't believe Muslims are protected by the U.S. Constitution because the Constitution does not protect a theocracy. Title II of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination because of religion in the places of entertainment. If you want to see the other reasons why Jen Morgan doesn't want Muslims in her gun range, you can click on this story on our website at KATV.com.
All right, Jordan Bonke reporting tonight. Thank you.
Your Metro First forecast with Chief Meteorologist Ned Permy.
Well, we've got a lot of clouds still flowing across the state at this hour, but we're pretty much rain-free. One exception on satellite and radar. We can show you there's another weak disturbance. You know, we've been talking about this frontal boundary that stalled across northern Arkansas. With another weak disturbance moving rapidly through southeastern sections of Missouri and the Missouri Boot Hill, just clipping Clay County in far northeastern Arkansas with a few thunder showers. Other than that, we've just got clouds going on and high humidity levels. So we also could see some patchy fog developing tonight around the metro area. 66 at Searcy, 72 degrees at Cabot, Little Rock, Benton, Bryant, Malvern, 71 at Pine Bluff and Hot Springs. Tomorrow, temperatures work back with a little bit more sunshine into the mid-80s, 87 degrees at Hot Springs. Chance of rain there about 10%, just widely scattered. And then 10% chance of showers, thunder showers, mainly in the afternoon at Pine Bluff. Also Searcy, Benton, and Bryant about 20%. Temperatures again in the middle 80s, 86 degrees in town. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk about that forecast and the rain increasing into the weekend. Plus, if you missed it at 6 o'clock tonight, I've got some fantastic video to show you that was shot today of the new blood moon or harvest moon and the eclipse from early this morning. We'll have that coming up.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, Ned. Former President Bill Clinton continued his visits across the natural state today as he headlined the U.S. Conference of Mayors at the Clinton Library. Clinton, along with Attorney General Eric Holder and several dozen police chiefs and mayors from across the country, attended the opening day of the conference. The topic today, learning from the recent Ferguson protests. President Clinton says one way to avoid situations like Ferguson is by building strong relationships with our neighbors.
We cannot afford not to know our neighbors. And it doesn't matter if they don't vote the way we do. Doesn't matter if they don't worship the way we do. It doesn't matter if they don't look like we do. We cannot afford not to listen to and know our neighbors.
The mayors attending the event will create a plan to help prevent situations like Ferguson and will present that plan to the Justice Department.
Governor Beebe announced today his intent to pardon 17 people. The governor's office announced Beebe will pardon 17 applicants who have completed their jail time, fulfilled all parole and probationary requirements, and paid all fines related to their sentences. 16 of the applicants slated for pardons are from Arkansas, 1 from Oklahoma, and there is a 30-day waiting period to get public feedback on the pardons before final action is taken.
Conway police arrest 2 people on various drug charges, including possession of methamphetamine. 36-year-old Michael Smith and 21-year-old Jody Moses were arrested Monday during a traffic stop. Now, according to a report, patrol officers learned Smith's license was suspended and that he had a warrant out of the Greenbrier Police Department. Well, when that officer searched his car, he found almost 6 ounces of meth valued at $6,000. Smith and Moses are being held at the Faulkner County Jail.
A follow-up to a story we first told you about last night on Nightside. A Little Rock man in critical condition from being shot in Little Rock last night. Officers found Joseph Imboden on West Capitol Avenue. Turner Taylor was a witness to the shooting, and he told police he and Imboden were arguing with 2 other men when those men shot at them. Taylor said they did return fire, too. Imboden was the only person injured. No arrests have been made.
A Little Rock man is dead after being hit in the head during a fight at a club. Witnesses told detectives Eric Davis was in the parking lot of the Big Dog Motorcycle Club when a man struck him in the head, causing him to fall and hit his head on the concrete. Now, police say the investigation is ongoing and no decision has been made yet on whether charges will be filed. Well, a man is in custody tonight after being accused of stealing electronics from a Ouachita County school. Larry Moore was arrested after Conway police received an anonymous tip saying that Moore had burglarized a Bearden school. Once Moore was arrested, he told investigators that he sold some of the electronics in Conway. Police recovered a flat-screen TV, Wii consoles, and a laptop. No word on what charges Moore may face.
Investigators now say the fire that destroyed the Arkansas County government building there was intentionally set. Stuttgart Fire Marshal Mike Rowe says evidence from a September 23rd blaze led them to believe it was caused by arson. Authorities still not sure how it started, though. The ATF and state police assisting in the investigation, and Rose says they do have a person of interest, but they're not calling he or she as suspect.
Little Rock police are still looking for a woman who hasn't been seen since yesterday morning. Police say Angela Holmes was last seen by her husband around 2 o'clock Tuesday morning. Her husband says Holmes told the family that she was going to jump off a bridge. She was last seen wearing blue pajamas and white house slippers. If you have any information about where Angela Holmes is tonight, call Little Rock police.
Kidnapping victim and now child advocate Elizabeth Smart was in Little Rock today. You may remember 12 years ago, she was taken from her Utah home, abused and held captive for 9 months. Well, she was the featured speaker for the Ann Hickman Lectureship at Arkansas Children's Hospital this afternoon, and she talked about her recovery and her efforts now to protect other kids. Allison Courtney was the MC for the event today, and she sat down one-on-one with Elizabeth, who shared about her faith, courage, and strength. You can catch Allison's full interview with Elizabeth tomorrow morning on Daybreak. A new report from the Congressional Budget Office says the federal deficit is again declining. Details of that report coming your way at 10:20.
But after the break, a few more days of warm weather before a bit of a cool down. Chief Meteorologist Ned Permy tells us how cool it will get. Stay with us. You're watching Nightside.
Channel 7 News Nightside, brought to you by Cleo's Furniture, Skycams, sponsored by Middleton Heat and Air. From the weather team with the most experience, this is Channel 7 Chief Meteorologist Ned Permy.
Hey, if you missed this earlier, I wanted to share this with you again. It was beautiful. Brian Emfinger, one of our photojournalists, was up on top of Mountain Magazine about 6 o'clock this morning, and he was shooting the blood moon, the lunar eclipse, early this morning, right at its peak, right about there, 6 o'clock in the morning. At the same time, that round of thunderstorms developed and moved into northwest Arkansas, eventually moving across the entire state. But it is some fantastic video and lots of cloud-to-cloud lightning earlier today. I wanted to share that with you. Some very talented photography from Brian, and we're glad we got him here. Let's take a look. Right now, Middleton Heat and Air Skycam looking out to the west, overlooking the state capitol, and we have mostly cloudy skies out there, 72. And the clouds are going to hang in from time to time throughout the nighttime hours, but there may be enough of a break that we could see a little bit of patchy fog from time to time. Don't think it's going to be really widespread. And then into the weekend we go as we're moving through the fall month of October, and we are going to see a little bit of a cool down, and the precipitation factor is going to rise up as we move toward the weekend. Tomorrow afternoon, about 20% probability of thunder showers, and then late on Friday and into Saturday and even into Sunday and Monday, little waves of low pressure are going to work along a stalled out frontal boundary and bring rain to the state. Could see from now until Monday anywhere between, well, possibly 2 to 3 inches of rain, many areas of the state over the next several days. It's not going to come all at once, but it will be several waves that'll move through. So increasing rain chances for sure. They were spotty today. Russellville had over 1 inch of rain. North Little Rock had 3/4 of an inch, while Little Rock at the airport had 1/1400 of an inch of rain. And then the showers moved out early this morning, and skies cleared enough to get those temperatures back up into the mid-80s, low to mid-80s, where they were most of the day. There's that round of thunderstorms that moved through and well to the east right now. One little thunder shower up around the Missouri Boot Hill clipped into Clay County, and it's along that frontal boundary that stalled out. Little wave of low pressure. We've got the dividing line between warm, humid air to the south, slightly cooler air north into the Ohio Valley, and that little wave of low pressure will continue to move through. Not going to be anything widespread overnight tonight. However, as we move into Friday, we have another area of low pressure right here. Rain is increasing late Friday and Saturday as this low pressure area works along that stalled out frontal boundary, bringing in tropical moisture and increasing the chances of rain for sure. Dew points still very high, lower to the north of the front, and that means that we could definitely see a little bit of patchy fog in development overnight tonight. Temperature currently, we are 72 with calm winds, and if we can get a little clearing in, that's why I think fog may be a problem in some locations tonight. Most of the readings right now are in the upper 60s and the low 70s around the state. Our futurecast run is going to have that frontal boundary remaining stationary through most of the weekend until another area of low pressure finally late Sunday and Monday works through. The first one coming in Friday night and into Saturday with a good chance of rain. Partly cloudy, little patchy fog, 65 tonight. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a 20% chance of afternoon thunder showers and a high of 86 degrees. extended forecast. Good chances of rain coming in late Friday into Saturday, late Sunday, into Monday. Not great news for the Razorback game on Saturday, for Friday night touchdowns, or for the King Biscuit Blues Festival in Helena, where I will be tomorrow.
A lot
The
going
show's
on.
got to go on, though, right?
Show's got to go on.
All right, Ned, thank you.
Well, if you ever fly, then you know that navigating through airports can often test your patience.
Yeah, find out what travelers say is the most annoying thing people do in airports. Can't wait for that. Still ahead on Nightside. For the fifth consecutive time, the federal deficit is on the decline. According to an estimate by the Congressional Budget Office, the deficit is $195 billion less than it was last year. The deficit, as you may know, is the gap between how much the government spends and how much it collects over the year. It borrows to make up the difference, as you know. The biggest reason for the improvement, an improving economy, higher taxes, and continued spending restraint. The CBO estimated a budget surplus in September of $106 billion.
Well, Americans are living longer than ever. That's according to a new report on mortality by the CDC and the National Center for Health Statistics. The life expectancy in the U.S. is now 78.8 years. That's an increase of about a month since the 2011 study. Women are expected to live about 81.2 years. For men, it's 76.4 years. There's no real explanation for the life expectancy differences between men and women, but scientists suspect behavior may play a role, with men being bigger risk takers.
We're living in blessed times to have numbers that high. Well, we all know flying the friendly skies can test our patience from time to time, but how about the walk through the airport to catch your plane?
CNN's travel staff compiled a list of some of the most annoying things that people do in airports. First on the list, blocking a moving walkway. According to the list, standing to the side to allow rushed passengers through, still an unattainable skill for some of us. People who are surprised at what's required of them at security checkpoints comes in at number 2. And number 3 is crowding the baggage carousel. Also on the list, seat hogging in the gate waiting areas, and kids running wild throughout the airport.
Yeah, all those are pretty rough.
Yep.
Especially if you've had a long delay, day of delays, and you're not there on time.
It can be pretty
or your
annoying.
flight gets canceled. That's another story.
You sound like a fan.
Yeah, coming up, Bruce and Baz with their predictions for the Alabama game.
And Jermaine Taylor is back in the ring fighting for a title. That's next in sports.
For the most part.
From the Arkansas Select Buick GMC Sports Desk, here's Steve Sullivan.
And new IBF middleweight champion of the world, Jermaine Bad Intentions Taylor.
Another twister, Jermaine Taylor's story. 9 years after beating Bernard Hopkins to win the undisputed middleweight title, he is a champion again tonight. Jermaine, who's 36, just beat up the IBF champ, 40-year-old Sam Solomon tonight in Biloxi, Mississippi. We pick it up round 7. This is where Jermaine scored the first of several knockdowns. That left jab sent him to the canvas. The final seconds of round 7, Jermaine on the attack again. We moved to round 8, the big overhand right. Solomon down again. He appeared to hurt his knee right here. He went down several times in the fight. Jermaine went on to score a convincing unanimous decision. He's now the new IBF World Middleweight Champion. Wow. Well, the countdown to Bama continues. 2 days, 18 hours, and about 33 minutes. The focus for the last 2 weeks has been on finishing. The coaches say it's not a physical problem.
It's more in between the ears than it is physical, and I think that's what gets to you on game day. The one thing that you got to be able to do, if you can do it in the first quarter, okay, you got to be able to do it in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line. And I think that's where our kids have to mature, and we do as coaches as well too.
A 5 o'clock start this week. The game will be on ESPN. It's prediction time for Baz and Bruce, and so far this season, they've been right on every game.
So we've had 2 weeks to prepare.
Right.
I think that's going to help us. I think we're going to be competitive. The last 2 games, 52-0 2 years in a row. I don't see it happening this week, but I'm afraid we're not quite there ready to beat Alabama yet. I think we'll be competitive through most of the game. I still think they have too much firepower on offense for our defense. I see Alabama winning this game 35-21.
Well, we're real close. I've got the ball game 34-21 Alabama, so we're once there again. And I agree with you. This is not knocking Arkansas. We've made great strides. They just got a little bit more, I would say, reserve power to bring in when they have injuries like they did that can compensate. I look for a great ball game, and I
hope we're wrong.
I hope we're terribly wrong, because I'm going to get blasted if Alabama.
Listen, I picked them too, Bruce. So hopefully we're wrong.
Hopefully we're wrong.
They've been apologizing like that. They must feel really bad here. 34-21 and 35-21. Well, the votes have been counted. The winner of our Yarnell Sweetest Play contest for Week 5 of the season is Bryant High senior tailback Kylon Boyle. Watch this run against Catholic High. I counted at least 4 broken tackles. Then he turned on the jets and raced to the end zone. He has been Bryant's go-to guy this season. Today, following practice, our friends at Yarnell hosted an ice cream party for him and his buddies. They had a big time there. This is one humble guy. Listen to how he described that touchdown run.
I mean, with a great offensive line, it's easy to see lanes like that. I actually broke 2 tackles and spun off of one guy. But I mean, the lanes were so wide open that I was just able to just go straight down the field.
Well, it wasn't a great play call. We actually didn't block many people, and he just kept his legs churning and broke a lot of tackles. And it's just, he does that all year. But I was proud of him on that play. It was a long run. It kind of took the wind out of their sail.
What a nice young man, thanking his offensive lineman. I don't think they blocked anyone on that play.
Those were 2 different stories, weren't they? The coach and the player.
Yeah.
The player said lanes. Coach said we didn't block anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I want to remind everyone, Jermaine's legal troubles don't go away, but he's the title holder.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Sally, thanks very much. We'll be right back. Got some good news that cooler temperatures are coming in a couple of days, but it's coming with some rain
in here as well. We're going to have a front that's stalling out, but it's going to kind of drift slowly south, and that's going to bring in the cooler temperatures. But also, we've got good chances of rain in the forecast. For tonight, no problems other than a little patchy fog, low of 65. The rain really coming in late Friday and Saturday. That's the first round of 2 that'll be moving through the weekend.
So some wet Friday night games, Sally. You
No,
might as well get
no,
your
no.
umbrella and ponchos ready. Okay. That is going to do it for us tonight on Nightside.
Thanks for watching. Remember, for the latest on all your news, weather, and sports, you can always log on to our website, KATV.com. And be sure to tune in to Daybreak tomorrow morning. The show starts at 4:30.